Before Adam set foot in the garden, something was already there. Someone, or rather, an entity created to guard paradise before man even existed. Hidden between the lines of Genesis, this figure is never mentioned by the prophets, and yet his role was decisive in the destiny of the earth. If this truth burns in your heart, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. And now we have a members area. By becoming a member, you bless this work and help us to continue producing edifying and revealing content like this. Just click on the Become a Member button. Be a part of it. Why does the Bible begin with the garden, but not say who was in charge of it before man was created? In Genesis 2, God plants Eden and places man there, but the text is silent about the time between the planting of the garden and Adam's arrival. How much time passed? Who was there before? Was Eden simply left unattended, or is there something that has been removed from Scripture, someone who was there, saw it all, and was then erased from the record? Ancient texts such as the Book of Caves and the Apocalypse of Moses speak of beings positioned to guard the boundaries of Eden, beings of light whose function was to prevent the entry of fallen forces. But among these, there was one who stood out, a mysterious being different from the known angels. His name was erased, his fate sealed. But there are traces, fragments preserved in forgotten traditions. This figure was known as the Guardian of Perfection. He was not a man, he was not an angel, he was something in between, a spirit created solely to guard the most sacred place in all creation, the original garden. He knew every tree, every boundary, every secret hidden beneath the soil of Eden. But then, he disappeared, and no one spoke of him again. The Guardian's disappearance was no accident. According to scattered accounts in Gnostic texts and ancient Hebrew midrashim, something happened in the heavens before the creation of man, a rupture that involved beings before Adam, and the Guardian, who had once held a position of honor over the garden, was removed. Silently, not out of disobedience, but for a deeper reason. He saw what he should not have seen. What did he see? The birth of rebellion, the approach of a spirit of pride among the heavenly hosts. Many associate Lucifer's fall as the first act of rupture in the cosmos, but these texts suggest that the Guardian witnessed something before that. He witnessed corruption being sown among the heavenly creatures and tried to warn, but he was silenced, and with that, his existence was buried along with the time before man. There is an important clue in Ezekiel 28 where God addresses the king of Tyre, but many scholars recognize that the speech refers to a spiritual entity. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering. You were anointed as the guardian cherub. But this being is described as being in Eden before its corruption. Could this be the original guardian? He did not fall through rebellion, but was removed from office by divine intervention, perhaps to prevent the secret of his existence from becoming known. This guardian cherub, then, would not be just a poetic symbol, but an actual reference to a being placed by God before the creation of man. One who stood at the center of the divine plan, saw what was coming, and was removed, not for sin, but for protection. Protect. What? The answer may lie in what was hidden in the garden itself, a secret buried beneath its beauty, a vestige of the earlier creation. When we read Genesis carefully, we notice an intriguing detail. Eden is described as already structured when man is placed there. The garden already had rivers, fruit trees, and even spiritual laws, such as the prohibition against eating from the tree of knowledge. Who, then, maintained all of this before Adam arrived? Was it the guardian who was responsible for preserving order in that silent interval between the creation of the garden and the breath of life into man? The ancient Hebrews believed that certain regions of the sky were directly connected to the earth in primordial times, And Eden would be one of these connection points, a portal between worlds. The Guardian, in this context, would have been the first to watch over this boundary, preventing spiritual forces from invading or corrupting the space where humanity would be formed. He not only guarded Eden, he guarded God's promise for creation. But tragedy struck. The Guardian, according to some ancient manuscripts, found something within the garden, something hidden by God himself. Some texts suggest it was a heavenly record, an object or revelation about the ultimate purpose of creation. The Guardian gazed upon this secret, and it violated the bounds of his office. He was removed, and a new type of surveillance was instituted. That is why, after the fall of man, Genesis 3:24 mentions cherubim and a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life. But it never mentions that first guardian again. He was gone. In his place were placed beings who did not question, who simply obeyed. But the silence of Scripture about the first guardian is itself a clue. Something was removed to protect the secret he had discovered. Many scholars today believe that this guardian was not merely forgotten, he was deliberately erased. There is evidence from ancient oral traditions that speak of a being who walked alone in the garden before man knew the name of God. A silent, faithful spirit, yet one who carried within himself the weight of a revelation that could not be shared. He is said to have been the only being who beheld Eden in its full glory before the presence of man. Some apocryphal writings and fragments of the Book of Enoch refer to a spirit of light that guarded the gates of the east before the contamination of time. This was no ordinary angel, nor was it one of the Watchers. This spirit seemed to be unique, without parallel among created beings. Its disappearance would have inaugurated a new time, the time of the fall, of limitation, of the expulsion of man, and of the loss of direct access to the garden. In more esoteric Hebrew traditions, there is the idea that Eden was divided into layers, and the deepest one could only be accessed by those who were considered worthy since before the foundation of the world. The Guardian would be the only one to set foot in this sacred core, the area closest to the divine presence. But when he tried to reveal to other beings what was there, he exceeded his limit. And so he was removed, as if spared from future destruction. Their removal left a gap. Eden became a place of closed borders, where surveillance went from contemplative to military. The armed cherubim were not just guarding the way, they were blocking access to something that had been discovered before its time. The Guardian, in turn, was sent to a place not described in Scripture. Some say he still exists, waiting for the time when the truth can finally be revealed. If he still exists, where is he? Some ancient rabbis claimed that the Guardian was transferred to a hidden realm, a region outside of time and space, where spirits who have neither fallen nor been exalted reside. A place of waiting. Others suggest that he was placed in a deep sleep until the time of final revelation arrived. This echoes texts such as 4 Esdras and the Apocalypse of Baruch, which mention beings preserved until the time of the end. Most strikingly, there are passages in Scripture that can be read as echoes of this mystery. For example, in Job 15:7, the text asks, "Were you the first man that was born, or were you formed before the mountains?" This question, posed to a human character, seems to refer to someone who predates humanity, someone who, perhaps, was formed even before the structure of the earth. Could this be a veiled memory of the original Guardian? In the New Testament, Paul writes that the whole creation groans, waiting for the revealing of the sons of God, Romans 8:19. Some scholars connect this to a cosmic expectation, as if all of reality were waiting to be reunited with truths that were hidden from the beginning. In this context, the Guardian of Eden could be part of that spiritual memory that the entire creation misses, but cannot name. After all, what exactly was he guarding? Eden, yes, but which part of Eden? The tree of life? The throne of God? Or was it an even deeper secret, a code, a plan, a name, something that would explain all of creation and that only he knew? His removal, then, would be a way of protecting this knowledge until humanity was ready to receive it. Many Jewish mystical texts speak of a concept called Sod, which means God's deepest secret, that which is only revealed to the righteous when the time is fulfilled. The Guardian may have had access to the Sod of Eden, the hidden heart of God's purpose, before humanity even existed, and upon seeing this secret, his nature was forever marked, neither rebellious nor glorified, just separate. The Zohar tradition, for example, mentions beings who belong neither to the realm of the living nor the dead, but who wait in the shadows between generations. This description recalls the fate of the Guardian. A being who knew the beginning was torn from the middle and will yet be called upon in the end. He is not just a forgotten figure, he is a missing link between the original creation and the future restoration. It is curious that Jesus himself, in Luke 23:43, mentions the thief on the cross. "Today you will be with me in paradise." But which paradise would that be? The original Eden, or a place beyond that that still holds the secret of the beginning? Some scholars believe that Jesus was speaking of a return to that which had been hidden from the beginning, and that perhaps this Guardian was still there, awaiting the reunion with the Son. If this is true, then the Guardian of perfection was never destroyed. He was simply removed, because his mission is not yet complete. He saw what man could not see, guarded what angels could not touch, and now he waits, while men struggle to understand the remaining fragments of Genesis. If the Watcher does indeed survive, his role may be more relevant now than ever before. In Revelation 2:7, there is a direct promise. "To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God." But who guards that tree today? It is still under protection. And perhaps the same being who guarded Eden before Adam is again at the head of that duty, awaiting the return of those who will be restored to the fullness of creation. Other apocryphal texts, such as the Testament of Adam, suggest that Adam did see this being for a brief moment and was terrified. The Guardian had no fixed form. He was shrouded in light, but with eyes that could tell the ages. Adam is said to have asked God, "Why do you show me a being I do not know?" And the answer was, "That you may know that much was done before you, and that much more will be restored after you." This hypothetical encounter shows something important. Man was never the first, nor the center. He was placed in an ongoing narrative full of chapters already written, and the Guardian was one of the oldest witnesses to that story. This changes everything we think about Genesis. It is not the absolute beginning. It is the beginning revealed to man. The true beginning, perhaps, is still hidden among the beings who witnessed it. And if the Guardian still exists, what does he guard now? Is it the original throne, a book, a secret, or time itself, waiting to be reset? There are scholars who claim that the time before man was sealed by him, and that only when the last seal is opened, as described in Revelation, will it be revealed again. In some Eastern Christian traditions, there are accounts of monks who, during profound visions, saw a hooded figure at the edge of a golden garden, with eyes that seemed to contain the reflection of extinguished stars. Always silent, always still, they dared not approach him. When questioned, they would say only, "He guards what no one may touch until the last trumpet is heard." These images may seem symbolic, but they convey a recurring pattern. The idea that there is an ancient being, forgotten by men, but active in God's eternal plan. A being who knew the purpose before the fall, before the creation of time, and who awaits the moment when the cycle will be closed. If this is true, then the guardian of perfection is not just a figure from the past, he is a key to the future. Perhaps that is why the authors of Genesis chose not to mention him. Perhaps they knew that the name of this being carried too much weight, too much revelation, too much mystery. And so, his silence echoes louder than any description. He is the most significant absence in the text, a gap that points to something greater, something that did not fit into the understanding of man at that time. And it is precisely this absence that invites the search. For if there was a guardian before Adam, then Eden was not only the setting for human history, it was also the battlefield of eternal secrets. And the one who kept these secrets may be the only one who still knows them completely. If this hypothesis is correct, then the guardian of perfection is the first to know God's entire plan, before the light, before the fall, before time. This makes him not only the first servant of creation, but also the last to be restored. His return would be a sign that paradise will be reopened, and that the secrets of the beginning can no longer be hidden. And perhaps this explains why so many ancient texts speak of the sound of the last seal, the voice that returns from the roots, or the sleeping watchman between the worlds. Could they all be, in a veiled way, referring to this forgotten figure, the one who guarded the garden, who witnessed the birth of order and the arrival of chaos, and who now, in silence, awaits final redemption? It is not about idolizing this being, nor about creating empty myths. It is about understanding that the story of creation is much greater than what has been revealed so far. The Genesis we know is the beginning of the history of man, but there is a previous story. A story of vigilance, protection, and silence. And the guardian is at the center of it. When the veil is finally lifted and the heavens are opened, we may be introduced to him. The first guardian. The last, forgotten one. The one who was removed to protect the secret and who will return to reveal it. Until then, Eden remains sealed but not forgotten. Phrase of the day. Not everything that has been removed from Genesis is lost. There are guardians of silence who still await the time of revelation. If you felt something different in this content, leave a like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. And if you want to support this project, become a member. Just click the button below. You help us keep this mission alive of revealing what has been hidden from the beginning. Which city are you watching us from now? Write in the comments.